All right. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you all for joining. See a lot of familiar faces in the chat today. I don't need my headphones anymore. Looks like we are here and up and running. Thank you all for being here. And let's see who we've got in the chat. See what if we've got any questions we can start with. And then I've got some fun stuff to share. It's been a bit of a week. It's been a bit of a week. I will just say that. Let me see. There is echo. I didn't hear any myself. Maybe you have it open in 2 tabs. I'm going to say it's that. All right. Where are we going to start? Hi from Germany. Oh, and I saw John Barker is here from Sweden. Thanks for joining. Cool, no echo on my end. Yeah, I'm guessing it's open in 2 tabs somewhere. That happens sometimes. I've definitely done that before. Yes, I do have the wireless go. That's not what you're hearing right now yet. That's on a different camera, so I will switch to that eventually. But I did get them to send me the wireless go too, so I'm checking that out. This is the first time I'll be using it on a stream, so cross your fingers. Hopefully it goes well. I'm sure it will. It's a good device. A couple of really cool features in that thing compared to the original, so I'm looking forward to checking that out in more detail. Yeah, right now you're just hearing my normal microphone, normal setup, but I'm going to go over to the table at some point and check out some things over there, check out a new camera. It's going to be a bit of a adventure today. I am not doing like a proper review, but I will be mentioning a bunch of stuff that I've been testing. So we'll see how that goes. I have some not so great updates to share on that. It's been a bit of a frustrating week, but it happens. We are here now though, and we are live. So where are we starting? Any questions? First of all, if you have a question for me today, feel free to mention my full name at Aaron Parecki in the chat. It'll highlight on my screen, and I will go through some questions and talk about what else is going on. Oh, looks like Eric got the Pro stand on Friday. Awesome. I'm glad to hear they are arriving. They should be, I believe they're all shipped out now. I think that's what I heard. So if they're not all shipped out now, they at least will be very, very soon. So they should start arriving in mailboxes very soon. That's of course, the original stand. The Extreme stand is not shipping until next week, so nobody has those yet, except my pile of prototypes on the table over there, which I'm gonna show you. I saw an interesting question in here. Oh, does the road work fine if it's hidden? Good question. I should try that out. Dean says, the only good thing about Sunday is looking forward to this live stream. Well, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining. Not a question, but a tip. Use SuperSource on output 2 of the Extreme with a cable back into input 8 to get SuperSource as an ISO recording. That is a good tip. Yeah, I've been experimenting with with recording stuff on the Extreme, and the main limit of the ISO recording on the Extreme is that the SuperSource does not count as one of the sources that it records an ISO of, which is unfortunate. I get why they did it that way, but it seems like because I can switch to it as an input, it's not like an upstream key. It's like I can actually just switch to it as an input. I feel like they should have made it record that. But as a workaround, yeah, you can feed your output back into one of the inputs to get your SuperSource out there. And I can just show you quickly what that would look like. Let me see. I have SuperSource here. So you can see my ISO control, and you would go into output 2, and then instead of, so I'm looking at a little monitor here showing me the program feed, but I could instead change that to SuperSource, which of course it is right now, so it doesn't look any different. But if I switch back to the camera, then that monitor stays on SuperSource, and then I could feed that back into input 8, and then it would actually be ISO recorded, which is pretty cool. And then you get a proper recording of that. I think one of the advantages of that is one of the things I like to do is record my workshops that I'm doing. I need to switch that back to program, otherwise I'm going to get real confused. I like to do I'm usually recording, I'm usually doing workshops in Zoom or WebEx or some sort of video conferencing software where I have to use screen sharing from my computer because the software is going to compress the video feed so much that I can't share slides through the software. So I can't use the SuperSource as a input into the video conferencing software because it wouldn't show up clearly. But I also want to be able to publish a video of that later. And I don't like spending time on post-processing this stuff, so I would like to just have it done as soon as I'm done with the workshop, especially because they're like at least an hour long, sometimes 2 or 3. So with if I can record the SuperSource as the layout, I wouldn't ever use that to switch to that in the Zoom feed. Right, I'm just going to feed my main camera into Zoom, but I do want to record the SuperSource so that I can have the slides and my video all on one screen, recorded by the time the workshop is done. So that's my main use of that, and I've got that. I had that set up here. I did that for one of the workshops. I was experimenting with the web presenter with that as well, and the web presenter, which is a very cool thing, but I had some problems with it, and I actually had to send it back to get them to look at it. So we'll see if they send me a new one or what. But yeah, it takes a couple of tricks to get that whole thing rigged up. I'm probably going to do a video about that at some point because that setup is really interesting, and I think it's pretty useful. Okay, I see a bunch of questions coming in. This is great. So let's see. How are the Wireless Go 2 compared to the Lark 150? The charging case is really tempting. Yeah, I haven't, like I said, I haven't actually done a whole lot of testing on the Wireless Go 2 yet. I just got it a couple days ago. So this will be one of the first tests, and I'm gonna do some more tests with it off air as well. There's definitely some similarities, but also some pretty big differences between the two. The Lark 150 has the charging case, which is pretty cool, so they can all charge at once without having to run like a million cables. With the Wireless Go 2, you have to run a USB-C cable into each one to charge it. Two mics in the receiver, same as the Lark 150. But one of the really cool features of the Wireless Go is that the Wireless Go 2 is that the microphone capsules themselves have internal storage that can record. So you can get essentially ISO recordings of your microphones and not wireless. So in case there's any dropouts, you always have a backup to fall back on, which is pretty cool. How much is your bitrate streaming now? I believe I'm set to the 6 megabit a second streaming setting in the ATEM, and I am currently at around 5.5. How many prototypes did you print? I will show you. I will show you. Is it possible to use an iPhone or iPad as a video player input into the ATEM? It absolutely is. In fact, I'm probably going to show you a video off of that very shortly to demonstrate one of the many problems I've had this week. And I'll be playing that off the just camera roll on the ATEM. What case do you use for your Pi RTMP server? I just bought the Argon one, and it's great, full-size HDMI. The case that I use is just the little heatsink case. It's not really a case. It's more like a giant heatsink that just kind of clamps onto it. And so it's still relatively exposed. I wouldn't toss that in a bag because it isn't completely enclosed, but it does work great for what I'm using for it, and there's no fan. Reviewing the AV Matrix switcher, that is on my list. I have a huge backlog of stuff to review because I don't know if you know, but it takes a lot of time to launch a product or two. So I've been spending all of my time on the Extreme stand now, and finally got that in production. It is being produced now. I can actually show you what that looks like. This is the printers hard at work printing the parts of the Extreme stand, and they are, yeah, just cranking out as many as they can right now. And they are going to be shipping from here, where they are being made. A batch of them is going to DVE store to be shipped from DVE store to the US, and then they are also shipping out to all the rest of the orders worldwide. It seems like NX3D, the Extreme stand, is already on back order, what I heard after ordering some days ago. It should be, yeah, that's interesting. It actually says back order. I'll have to double check on that because I know that they are just making them literally as fast as they can to get through all the DVE store orders. and all the orders, all the pre-orders that have come in. But if you do want one, just make sure you get in the queue as fast as you can, because the sooner you get in the queue, the sooner yours will come off of the production line. I called DME after last week's live and updated my order to include the locking clips at no charge with no problems. Excellent. Tim, yes, we're doing the promo for the pre-order period, where if you do want the extra little back anti-tilt things, or if you want the clips to hold down the Extreme, you can get those included for free during the pre-order period. So if you already placed an order and you somehow didn't manage to get that added to your order, go ahead and call them, and should be no problem. Do I use foam panels? Yes, although I will say I don't think those are doing the most of the work in the room. I have foam panels on the wall, but I also have a giant rug, and I've got other things around here. It's not perfectly sound treated in here, but it is a lot better than it used to be. Okay, let's see. Where was I? How is the Mini Pro's recording behavior? Does it record into one video file or split up into multiple files? Every time you hit the record button, it will record one. If you're using the ISO, it'll record the whole set, but as a set of single files of whatever that recording duration is. If you're using the Pro, then you get the one file, and it makes a new file every time you hit record a new time. How can you use the ATEM's webcam output as your camera in Zoom without getting the infinity window if your guest is in through Zoom, so your guest sees you in full SuperSource layout? That is a trick. It is a trick, yes. I think the answer is you need... So the... I think I walked through how to do this on Friday's live stream after the conference. Was that? What day was that? That wasn't last week, was it? That wasn't 2 days ago. It was last week, the 9th. Yeah. So on that stream, I walked through the whole setup I did for the conference, where I was bringing in guests both through Zoom, also through StreamYard, and through Streaming Bridge with Zoom. There is definitely some tricks to it, and you might often having another capture card will help with that, because yeah, when the program in the ATEM is set to the SuperSource and you're bringing in Zoom, I can't even picture it right now. Yes, it is a bit of a mess, and one way around it is basically to either feed to basically not use the USB output of the ATEM, instead use the HDMI out into a capture card so that you can feed just like a separate thing into Zoom than what's in your program. That takes a lot more explaining. Sorry, that was not a good explanation. Do you find the ATEM Mini Pro Extreme noise bothersome? I literally cannot hear it. It makes no sound. I know I've heard people who say theirs makes a clicking noise. Both of mine do not make a clicking noise. It is super, super, I literally can't even hear it. The fan in the light is louder than the Extreme, and it's a quiet light too. Like literally it is not making a sound. So I don't know what's going on with some people's though. Okay. Oh, hey, Dean, I used the Go 2 last night for a live stream and they worked great. It's great as they now should use as an audio interface. Oh, right. That's the other thing. The receiver acts as a USB audio interface, which is super cool. Yeah. I have a Rodecaster Pro going into mic 1 on my Mini Extreme. Can I also use sound coming in from cameras, not through the soundboard? Yeah, totally. You can enable sound on any of the 8 inputs on the Extreme independently, and you can mix it all together. So if you do have sound coming in from cameras also, you can mix that sound in by just turning on the audio for that particular track. So in the audio settings, you can see I've got, let me turn off the comment. So you can see in my audio settings right now, I've got just the my main camera audio. I don't actually have microphones plugged in on these channels right now, but I will have audio coming in from 2 other cameras as soon as I hop over to the other table. My extreme ISO is silent too. Good, yeah. My extreme ISO doesn't make any sound except for 2 seconds during power up. Yeah, during power up it goes, makes a huge fan noise, and then it turns off. Also does not make any noise. Yep. Cool. I sent my first Extreme back to DVE storage to get the new one on Tuesday. Report back on how it sounds. Oh, is that because yours was making too much noise? Yeah. Have you used the ATEM Mini as a second camera, share screen and zoom? I could not get the audio to work. No, I haven't actually done that yet. I haven't tried that. That's it should work with audio too, but yeah, I haven't actually tried it myself. I always forget that's an option in Zoom. Will you be releasing a full Web Presenter HD review tutorial? Can Keynote create alpha channel motion graphics to play through Hyperdeck Mini? 2 different questions. Yes. Yeah, at some point I'm going to do a full Web Presenter tutorial once I get it back. Like I said, I had some problems with it. It seemed to be a little bit buggy, and they're going to take a look at it. Hopefully I'll get back a new one, which should not have those problems. The problem I was having was it would randomly kind of lose its internet connection, and lose its internet connection. So like it would just think it's streaming, but then it doesn't actually make it up there. So then the cache would be showing that it's like filling up, and then eventually it would fill and stop working. But like I know my network settings were right. Like it didn't even reboot it between when it was working and it wasn't. So we'll see what they say. Yeah. With the possibilities that the Extreme offers to operate the Blackmagic cameras, you can make the transition to these cameras. What are the pros and cons? I am great that you asked this. I have some interesting updates to share on the 6K camera that I'm testing out as well. Yeah. So let me talk about some of the exciting problems I have had in the last week or so. It's been a bit of a frustrating last week. So it's a whole host of things have gone wrong. Okay, first of all, last week on Sunday, I have that music in the countdown. Excuse me. I have that music in the countdown sequence, and there's like 4 songs, and I have it baked into the countdown timer. It's part of that video, so that the music ends right at the 0 mark and like trails off, right? And that's how I open the show. So I always run the same music in the stream every time, and it's the same sequence of songs. I did a little bit of mixing together so that there's no pauses between the songs and all that. Cool. So it's been working fine. All this music is from Artlist, and I actually really like Artlist, and I went through a couple of different stock music sites before I landed on them. And one of so there's like Soundstripe, there's Epidemic Sound. I don't even know how many there are. There's like a ton of them, right? Most of them have this, if you look at the details of the terms for using the music, most of them have actually pretty strict limits on how you can use the music. So I think it's Epidemic Sound. Don't quote me on this. I probably shouldn't name these individual ones, but okay, one of them has a limit where you have to tell it what YouTube channel you're going to use it on, or specifically Instagram or like other specific accounts, and you get a license to use the music on that particular account. So if I have, just one channel like this channel, and I need music for this channel, it's fine, but I would have to go get a new license if I were using it for a client project or for my work channel, or if I had 2 channels, right? Which is a bit frustrating. So I did not like that limitation, and I felt like it was going to be just too complicated to keep track of which songs I've managed where or licensed where. Oh, Andy says I have the Epidemic commercial license and it works that way. However, you can clear materials for any client project as well. That's good to know without additional charges. That's good to know, but I didn't want to have to go through the trouble of dealing with that. And so I moved off of them a while ago. Cajoling Technology says music bed makes you specify. That's why I canceled. Also, okay, I haven't actually tried music bed. So another one worked a slightly different way where you had to, what is it? Gosh, I don't even remember the other limits of them. I didn't prepare this ahead of time. But they all have these sort of limits where you have to, you can't necessarily reuse the songs. Oh, now I remember what it was. I don't remember which one it was, which site it was. But the limit was you can only use the song in new projects if you have an active subscription. So it's a reasonable thing, frankly. But it meant that if I'm paying for this license, I can use the songs in whatever channels for whatever. But if I stop paying them, I can't use the songs in new projects. Again, I don't think it's unreasonable, but that is a limit. And then I'm just going to be constantly paranoid about forgetting that the song that I've baked into my countdown timer was from this one particular site that I stopped paying for or whatever, right? So I was like, okay, that's annoying. And then I found Artlist. And the deal with Artlist is they're the most flexible terms. They have the 100% the most flexible. And what theirs is basically you have to click the button that says like check out, like buy this song for each song you download, which is a little bit of extra work, but I'm okay with that. And as soon as you do that, you get a license to use that song forever, anywhere. So basically I can go and find a collection of songs that I like, go through the process of like putting them all in my cart, checking out, get the licensed PDF from it. And then I can just use them now forever in any client projects, in my own channel or whatever. So I can take this countdown clock that I've created with these 4 songs in it and use it across whoever's stream I'm running. So most flexible license terms. And that's why I'm now happy to stay with Artlist. I do have a link down below, affiliate link. They are 100% not sponsoring this or anything, but if you do want to sign up for it, go click the link down below. So, okay, this is all great. It's been working fine. I've used this countdown clock for months now, right? You've seen it on the stream. You've hopefully not getting sick of the songs yet. I actually switched up the songs a couple months ago now that I think about it. But yeah, it's great. However, last week on Sunday, after like the day after the stream, I got a notice from YouTube saying that there was a content ID claim on my stream. And I was like, what do you mean there's a content ID claim? Like, I know where I got this music from. I know I'm allowed to use it. What is going on? And I went and dug into the claim, and I should see if I can just like find it again to show you. It was super annoying. So no, I think it's gone now that I've like cleared it. So the claim was for a song that like the song title was different, and I couldn't find the song by just Googling for it, but the artist was the same as the song that I was using. And then I found the company that made the claim was one of those like clearing companies that manage copyright ID for large commercial companies. And it turns out that they were representing a different stock music website, which was, gosh, what was it? It was FilmPack. So FilmPack stock music website uses a company that manages content ID for them, and they had filed the claim on my stream. And then I was like, okay, this is really weird. So what's going on? And I went and I found the song that it said it was a match of on FilmPack. And I was like, that sounds really familiar, but it also sounds different. And I downloaded the sample of it, put it next to the song that I had used, overlaid them, and it's nearly the exact same song, except the melody line is different. So it's the one that starts at like 4 minutes countdown in this stream. So hopefully this doesn't get flagged again because I haven't replaced it. But it was basically the same song, except the artist had changed the melody line and then submitted their same song two different stock music websites. And it was close enough that YouTube flagged it as a match. But it clearly wasn't a match because it was technically a different song. So I disputed it on YouTube. I was like, okay, I'm going to file this dispute saying like, this is not, like, I have the rights to the song. It's this song. It's not the one you're saying it is. And that just goes into like a void because, you know, the whole process of submitting fighting a content ID claim on YouTube is extremely victim blamey, and it basically makes you feel like you're the one doing something wrong, and there's no possible way that the person who filed the claim could be in the wrong. So they hold the revenue until this gets resolved. YouTube holds the revenue until it gets resolved and then gives the ad revenue to whoever wins the claim. But I get no visibility into whether the person has acknowledged my fight against it. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to tell Artlist about this. So I sent the whole thing to Artlist saying, hey, I got this claim. Here's the song I used. Here's the one they think I used. Tell me what to do. And then less than 24 hours later, the claim had been lifted. And they were like, yeah, we got our lawyers involved, and now their claim is gone. So cool. Thanks, Artlist, for dealing with that, because that was a lot more effective than me going into YouTube's black box of content ID nonsense. So yeah, good times. And now I think I'm gonna take that song out because I don't want to risk content ID flagging it again, because apparently it's just going to think it's the same song, even though it's not, even though it kind of is. Yeah, so good times. That was fun. That was Sunday. Okay, what else? Yeah, that's why I make my own sounds. You know, I do have my own collection of songs too, but it is all short stuff. I haven't expanded them into like full-on things. They're all like 30 seconds or so. The you are more than welcome to use these songs in your own shows if you want. It is a project I did a couple of years ago where every day I threw together something 30 to 60 seconds long, and there's 100 songs. I did it for 100 days in a row. That was too many days. That was too fast. But a lot of them are really fun. Some of them are not good. There's a little visual that goes along with them too, but it's mostly just like random effects thrown together in Final Cut. Or like, I probably shouldn't have used stock video on that stream just now, but it'll be stuff like this. It'll just be like abstract stuff going along with the song. And, but yeah, the songs are all original work that I have done. And again, they're not long, so I can't use them in like my countdown sequences. And some of them are just not good, but it was a fun exercise. Some of them might be good for stingers or like opening sequences or whatever. And you're welcome to use them too if you need short bits of music. That link is 100.aaronparecki.com. And I am going to show that on the screen in a second. Where did it go? There it is. Oh, it's highlighting my name. Great. So yeah. Those are all the Creative Commons license. I don't have them uploaded to any place that could give you content ID flags on them either. Yeah, I'm about to use Artlist after hearing that level of support. They were really great at helping me deal with that, so I definitely recommend them. Okay. So that was one of 4 issues I ran into this week. But at least that got cleared up fine. So, okay, what else? Some more bad news. some more bad news. My Hyperdeck, I think I've mentioned this, it's been acting a little bit weird. It has been, this is the thing I bought in like, I think 2015. It's not new at all, right? So I've had this thing for a long time. But after I leave it on here for a couple of days, what happens is the ATEM kind of like, it's like, oh, it's not connected anymore and I can't control it. So I was like, that's weird. And for a while I was just rebooting it and it was working fine. And I decided to like look into it one day. And this is where I can show you this little video. So what I found was super, super weird. Okay, if I go, this is a video of me using the menu on the Hyperdeck. So That's the IP address of the Hyperdeck. That's the one it's supposed to be, right? And you can see on the screen, it clearly says this is the IP address. If you go and click the button that says set, then it's like, oh, that's the IP address. What? Like, that doesn't make any sense. First of all, that address is completely random, but literally between here and here, it's showing me different information. It's just wrong. I don't know what's going on with that. And if I reboot it, then it works fine again. And it is set to static IP, but literally that's not even the point, because the place that it's showing me the IP address is showing me two different things, which is not good. Not good. So rebooting it works fine. It connects again. It's all good. It's just getting really frustrating that I have to reboot it every like 3 or 4 days. So yeah, that's awesome. I have no idea what to do about that. My first thought was, oh, I switched it over to PoE to power it from my Ethernet connection. Maybe that's causing some problems. And I switched it to hardline AC power, and it's been the same problem. So that clearly wasn't the issue. I have no idea what to do about that. It is well out of warranty. Plus, I spray painted the front of it white, but it's way out of warranty anyway. So don't know what to do about that. I guess I'm just gonna have to live with it. I don't know if, like, hopefully with whatever they do next with the next version of it doesn't have that problem. I guess I haven't checked for a firmware update in a while, so maybe I'll try that, but it's not running 2015 firmware anyway. I updated it at some point in the past. Yeah, cool. So that's awesome. Super weird. And then today, this morning, when I came into the studio and turned on my camera, my Blackmagic camera, at the table, it looked like this. My poor LCD screen is totally broken. Half of it is just showing random stuff on the screen. And it like flickers too. This is just a still shot. So that's awesome. I don't know what happened to my poor camera. Yeah, it's just sitting there on a tripod. It's just sitting there, not moving, not getting bumped. I don't even take it off of the tripod. And I turned it on today, and that's what happened. Like, it didn't get bumped. I didn't drop it. I didn't drop anything on it. I didn't even unplug anything. It's just randomly broke. Yeah, super awesome. So, yeah, no idea. Your gateway should always be your router in the same. Yeah, that doesn't matter. The thing does not need an internet connection. I know how networking works. The thing does not need an internet connection, and that also isn't the problem. The problem is that it literally just forgets its IP address. So, yeah, it is set to a static IP. It is set to a static IP. It does work. The IP is correct. The subnet mask is correct. I don't care about the gateway. It doesn't need to talk to the internet. And but like, again, that's not the problem. The problem is that when you go look at what IP address it thinks it is in this menu, it changes. It changes. It thinks it has a different IP in 2 different screens. So yeah, this is not my problem. Do these problems come under the category of first world problems? Absolutely, yes. This is, yeah. So yes, I do know how to, I do know how to set up my networking on my gear, and that is clearly not what is going on. Okay. Yeah, so that's awesome. Let me go over to the other table because I can show you some other stuff over there too. And I should have, yeah. So audio should have switched over. Yes, it looks good. One of the other things that I did this week, which I am excited about, is I got a second keyboard and mouse. So my computer exists in both locations at the same time now, which is pretty fun. Oh, and I forgot to turn on the confetti. Oh my gosh, thank you for the super chat. Where did it go? There. Oops, lost it. Okay, well, thank you for the super chat. There we go. Starting a fund for calling the Ghostbusters to rid you of these electronics books. Thanks. Yeah, let me, I forgot to switch my computer screen back too. I need to see my computer over on this teleprompter, not teleprompter, table monitor is my computer. But then I can show you what I've, this cool setup too, which is, I'm pretty happy with. I'm gonna give you a little sneak peek around my room. So let me see. I don't want audio follow video on that camera. We're gonna stay on this microphone. And yeah, we're just gonna go over to the wireless camera. So this is what I'm looking at. And you can see I've got the camera behind that teleprompter. So that's showing me my multi-view so I can see what's going on. This is a monitor, but it's right now it is my computer screen. I can reassign it to multi-view if I want to, but I wanted to be able to use my computer today so I can actually go and like show you the, or see the chat that I can, see what you're saying and use my computer here. But my computer is also over there. So you can see at my desk, I've got the same computer monitor on the right monitor, showing the same thing on the screen. And I've got a keyboard and mouse over there as well. So I can basically just pick this up, go from the desk over to the table, and I can be using my computer here now as well. And that's thanks to, of course, the SDI matrix that I've got, and that's been working fantastically. So that is pretty cool. No, I don't have any transitions set up today, sorry. And but yeah, I've got this wireless camera so I can show you some cool stuff. I just really like the fact that like I can be using my computer here. It is just the same as using my computer over at the desk, and I can just walk back and forth seamlessly between the two, which is pretty cool. So one of the other things that I finished recently in good news is I finished the little, oh, I should switch over to my Rode audio now. I did finish the little box under my desk. So let me switch over to the Rode audio. We're gonna switch over to auto follow video, and then so I did finish under here. It's a giant pile of cables, but you might notice there's this cool little box, and I am super happy with this. So I've got these little breakout HDMI and SDI ports and Ethernet, so I can plug everything into here. And that's a plate I got made with a bunch of little holes in it, and I bought all these little connectors. And then this is magnetic, and it just pops off. And then inside there, it's full of, oh, I should have brought a light down here. I don't have any lights handy. But inside there is full of SDI connectors. Yeah, you can kind of see them all. It's just a pile of them. One of them is a scaler. There's a bunch of the SDI to HDMI, and they all are connected into that cable that goes around the floor over to the switcher. And then this is it's just a magnetic door. And that way I can keep things kind of clean. That camera. Pretty fun. That box is made out of pieces of plywood or particle board that I bought off of Amazon that came pre-cut to that size, so I didn't have to use any tools. And it is, yeah, pretty excited that I was able to basically just paint all of it white and then screw it together with some, there's some 1x1 pieces of wood that I did chopped down, and it's all just kind of glued and screwed into that thing. So Yeah, it's completely built from scratch. It's literally pieces of like 9-inch by 12-inch pieces of particle board that I bought and attached all together. And then the top plate is metal with the holes cut out. And that one I bought. I did not make that myself. I bought that piece and then attached all the little things into it. Pretty cool. That is where I got that box. Oh, Camille, thank you for the super chat. I didn't see because I was under the table. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. So yeah, at least there's some good news today, in addition to all my gear breaking down. Cable management is always left as the last thing, but it separates the professionals. Here's the thing about cable management. I would love it if everything was a lot neater and stuff in here, but the problem is I end up changing stuff around too often, and then the cables, I'll have to undo all the cable management. So I feel pretty good about the feel pretty good about that box, because what that's done is basically given me like 10 cables that go between that desk and this desk, and then I can plug stuff into that, and that's a lot cleaner than having actual cables running across the floor in a giant mess. They're all bundled in that nice little white tube, little sleeve. So that's helped a lot, and it's helped under this desk look less chaotic than it did before, believe it or not. But yeah, can you share the link to that box and the plate? The box, not really, because I built it, but the plate, yes. The plate was from LEDGO. So here, I don't even have an affiliate link for this because it's just LEDGO. But the it's their custom panel designer. So you can go and say like, I need a panel of this size, and then decide what holes go where. And they'll even ship you connectors if you want. So some of the connectors I got shipped from them, some I bought off Amazon. Is your Pocket 4K still sending a clean HDMI feed even though the screen is broken? Yes. You're looking at the Pocket 4K right now. The HDMI, the actual video is fine. It's just the LCD screen that is totally busted. So, okay, why not a multi-core cable? I've never seen one before. That is why. You basically made a snake in the audio world. Yep, totally. That was the inspiration for that. Oh, hey, Controlling Technologies, thank you. Do you think it's a bad time to buy a Hyperdeck Studio Mini? I honestly, it's a tough call. I do think that there's going to be some kind of new Hyperdeck product coming out in the near future, but I don't know what exactly. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a complete exact replacement for the Hyperdeck Mini. It might be something larger that isn't really like an equivalent. So yeah, it's a tough one. But yeah, also I'm not happy with mine right now. Yes, you are correct. It is not intentional. My keys are a little bit off for some reason. Okay. What monitor are you using for your teleprompter? That one is, I'm really happy with this monitor, actually. Let me grab this link, see if I can find it. This one is a 10-inch, and it is the 10-inch Lilliput. 10-inch teleprompter monitor. If I can type. There we go. And yeah, this thing is great. This thing is sorry about the audio transition. It is under there, showing me the screen. It's nice and bright. It is a good size. I don't have to squint to look at it. I can actually like see my camera feed well. And it actually has SDI in, which is convenient for me. And it also has HDMI in. So both of them work fine. Oh, thanks, Petra, giving me inspiration for the connection box. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the super chat. Cool. Yeah, I definitely recommend building stuff like that. I think it's fun to build those boxes, and you can make it work exactly the way you want. And I'm pretty happy with the little magnetic thing too. I didn't want to deal with hinges, and I didn't want to be totally stuck. So the magnetic strips on that piece of wood just means that it just pops on and it just pops off. The road is reflecting your light. Good. Now you can see the light in my room. Yep, this is the one, the A11. It is a really good monitor. What is doing the mirroring? Oh, good question. That monitor does the mirroring, which is the other reason I like it. So the monitor has all the flip features in it. So you can flip horizontal, vertical, or whatever, and choose between HDMI or SDI inputs. Very nice little device. Oh yeah, MDF is the actual name of the wood, not particle board. I always call it particle board. Yeah. Okay, so let me show you how many stands I have on my desk, which is a bit of a disaster. What am I going to do for this? I want that audio. My table here is completely covered in ATEM Mini Extreme stands. I've got this is the actual production one. I didn't finish assembling it because I actually want to assemble it while filming it for a tutorial. So I still have to do that. I just got the top bar on to kind of test it out. I'll talk about that in a second. This is one of the prototypes. And this was, I think, the last prototype I made before it went into production. So it's almost exactly what's in production, but you might notice that the side is different on this one because that was the last minute change we did. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to reprint it. Everything else is fine about this. So this one works fine. I have been making some minor changes to the original ATEM stand as well, which, so this is one of the early changes, but you can see I got rid of the little extra piece there. I think I mentioned this last week. And I should probably just switch to my overhead camera for this. And this is, where's the light? So that's one of the early drafts, but it still has the problem where you can't get through, you can't get your finger through. So I switched it to actually have a hole through there, but it means that the way that the cheese bar on the side mounts, it changes to mount from the two inner holes here. And then it means that you can actually get your finger kind of inside there to help with that top nut, which is the hardest one to do. So no like functional changes on this. Well, I guess actually there is a functional change. I added screw holes on the back. So these screw holes match the same holes as are in the Extreme stand. And this was the other thing I wanted to do, which was we're going to be selling add-ons. So you can see the bottom two screws match. And there wasn't enough room for 4 screws. But if you look at it like that, the top 2 screws match. So we're going to have some add-ons. Anybody else should feel free to design some add-ons as well. And you'll be able to attach the add-ons to both the original stand and the Extreme stand using the same mounting holes. So those are some minor changes. If you already bought this one without these changes, it's not that much different at the end of the day. It is it's still going to hold the stand at the same angle. Everything else about this is the same as the production ones, but I did make a couple of these changes just to make it easier to assemble and for the future add-ons. But yeah, you don't need to buy it again or anything because it's not actually any different functionality wise. But yeah, I did want to just get that out there so that all the new ones come out that way. And also if you did buy the model, the 3D model of that, those files have been updated too. So that is, you'll get, I sent out an email. So if you did buy the 3D model, you now have access to the new files as well. And then the last one I printed, which was this was the very last one. I actually ran out of filament, of my black filament. I didn't realize I was so low. And I was like, well, I guess I want to get this thing printed so I can do one last check on it. And this is the actual final one I did before sending out the updated model. And it is kind of neat that it's in this, like, it's actually not white. It's actually this weird transparent filament. So you can see like the printing texture inside, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, anyway, I'm probably going to end up, I have too many prototypes to use myself. So I'm probably going to like end up selling these as mostly functional, but slightly off of the final, slightly different than the final production. So I'll sell them at like some discount. But I'll probably put this up next week for sale. So if you do want to get one that's going to be definitely not the quality of the production models and also missing some features. So like this one is the most functional extreme stand prototype that I have, but you know, the side thing isn't the nice little rounded dip, but it's the same other than that. I'll post those up at some point later. Okay, what else we got in the questions? Can you talk us through your wireless HDMI transmitter for the ZV-1 and how they work? Yeah, so this is my ZV-1, which is a nice little camera with some minor issues, but overall it's pretty good. And it's on this, what do they call it? I totally forgot the name of this tripod. Anyway, the camera is in a small rig cage. So the cage does a couple of things. One, the biggest annoyance with this camera is that the tripod screw is right next to the battery flap. So if you have it connected to a tripod, then you can't open the battery flap or to access the battery or the SD card. Switch pod, that's the thing. Thank you. So putting it on this cage means that it adds these little tripod screws. Let me switch to the upside down view. Oh, you can't even see them. Yeah, you can't even see it. It's all covered up. But it's got this. It moves the tripod screws so that you can actually access the battery flap. It's not focusing on the right thing. Now I can open the battery flap even while it is attached to the tripod. The other thing this cage does is it gives me a spot for more cold shoes. So I've got the cold shoe over here, which is on the camera, but it adds a cold shoe down here, which is where the microphone is plugged in. So the Rode receiver is down here, plugged in with this flexible cable over to the microphone jack. Not the ideal placement because I have to wrap the cord around the whole thing like that, but it works. And then up here is the Hollyland 300 Pro. And this is attached to the cold shoe. It's got a big fat battery on the top. And then this slim cable. I don't like the big ugly cables that are super tight, so it's this really slim cable that connects into there. So that is then transmitting to the receiver, which is at my desk. And this is audio and video tied together, so they're in sync. And when this transmits to the desk, and there will be the delay of the transmitter. And that's why when I switch between the audio of the two, you might hear double for a second, because if I switch in the middle of a sentence, it'll either skip or double up like 300 milliseconds or so, maybe half a second. But this is just sending the video and audio over to the receiver on the table, which is then HDMI out into my stack of converters, a little stack of SDI converters, and going into the matrix, which I can then route to the ATEM. So in the ATEM, you see the camera on the multi-view. Let me switch over to that. So you can see the camera is coming in that slot 6 down there, and then I can cut to it as the program to show it to you, and route the audio that way too. So I don't have the audio coming from the camera right now. You're still hearing the main microphone camera audio from this table, but I could switch that audio, and let me switch to auto follow video. So this is the audio from the Rode camera, and if I switch back to the table, you'll hear that the audio either skipped or doubled up because I switched it mid-sentence. So if I want to be better about that, I would pause and then switch cameras and then resume talking so that you don't get the little gap in the audio. So that's how I am using that camera. Why the switch to the Glide Gear teleprompter? Because it is bigger. It's big enough for the 10-inch monitor. So this teleprompter is, I did not do a good job of merchandising my stream today. Let me see if I can find the Glide Gear link. Nope. This is the, yeah, this teleprompter is just big enough for this 10-inch monitor. That's the reason for switching to it. The Extreme stand is huge. Well, the Extreme is pretty big. Yes, it is. If you're looking to upgrade the 20x20, John could use it. I did run out of inputs on my 20x20. I'm not eager to upgrade to the 40 yet. Sounds like there's a bit of compression on the Rode mic. Oh, it's possible that I have it cranked up a little bit too high. I am running audio into the ATEM. So ATEM is doing the audio processing. So this is, yeah, I guess that's probably a little bit heavy. Let me see if I can ease up on it a little bit. I don't want it to be, I'm just doing this by eye, which is a little bit frustrating sometimes. I didn't bring my headphones over. I can just turn it off. This is it. This is the sound plain. So this is what it sounds like without any audio processing now. Let me know which one you like better. I have a 12x12 possibly coming soon, then I will immediately need the 20x20. Yes, yes. I knew 12 was not going to be enough inputs for me, so I jumped to the 20 at first, but then I didn't realize how fast I was going to fill that up. John could use a prototype for his tiny studio. If shipping to Sweden wasn't so expensive, I absolutely would send one over there. Okay. Surely not at a discount. They are original work and they will be worth so much more in the future. No, I'm selling them at a discount because they don't have all the same features. Like, this is the most complete one. This is the most complete one, closest to the production model. But the other ones I have are like missing screw holes or don't have the clips or whatever. They're all like stands. They all work as a stand, but they don't have a lot of the features that you might want, the add-on features or whatever. Oh yeah, the other reason I came over to this table was to show you the 6K camera. So I started trying out the Pocket 6K, and the Pocket 6K camera, and there's a couple of interesting things. First of all, I'm having an issue where it's just refusing to load my LUTs. So the LUT I'm using on this camera is one that I made to match my G7. And it is pretty close. I'm sure it's not perfect. I'm sure I could do better, but it's pretty close. I'm reasonably happy with it. That's what you're seeing now. And that LUT I made in Resolve. So it's a regular like 33-point LUT, standard Resolve stuff. And it's on a hard drive. And I plugged that into the 6K camera to try to load it. And it does load it, but I can't enable it. And I don't understand why. So that's a weird thing. So I'm going to switch to that camera, and you're going to notice that it's quite a bit different. Oh, Chris, thank you for the super chat. Oh, are you all going to fund a shipping fee to send a stand to John. Yeah. Thanks for the super chat. Maybe if I do get enough, I will send one over to John. Sorry, joining late. What's the 12 by 12 and 20 by 20? Oh, we're talking about the SDI matrix. I've talked about this on a couple of shows. I've given you like a full walkthrough of it. I don't want to go too deep into it right now, but it's the thing that lets me electronically switch what sources are plugged into what destinations. So for example, my computer monitor over here is plugged into the matrix, and let me switch back to the right audio. So this computer monitor is not actually a computer monitor. It's just an HDMI feed coming from the matrix. Same with the teleprompter. So I can reassign what goes where. Oh, another super chat for the stand. Okay. Maybe we'll get one over to John. So for example, here's my teleprompter, and then if you watch what's happening up there, right now it's set to the ATEM Extreme, but I can also say, actually set it to the 3D printer camera. And now it's a totally different thing. Or set it to the main camera. And it'll change to the main camera. But for what I'm doing here, I want to show me the multi-view so I can actually see what I'm doing when I'm at this table. And I can do the same with this screen. So this screen, I can say, right now it's my computer monitor, but I could also make that one the multi-view instead. And this one takes a little bit longer to switch because HDMI, whatever. So now it's my multi-view. And then I can switch it back to my computer monitor if I want to be able to actually use my computer at this desk, which I do. So I'm switching it back. And that is all thanks to the Video Hub, Blackmagic Video Hub, and that is at my desk, painted white, lots of cables running in and out of it, and that is how that all works. Oh, and we got another one that somehow my little confetti missed. Sorry. Thanks for the super chat. Okay, I might have enough to ship John this stand now. Thank you all. This is hilarious. Yeah, so is the 6K using the MFT mount? No, it is actually the Canon lenses. So I thankfully had a Canon lens to throw at this, and I'm almost done selling all my Canon cameras, but I had one actually decent lens still, a 1755 lens. Oh, another one. Oh, there's that one. Thanks. And I saw another one come in too from Geert. Okay, John, it looks like you're getting a stand. Can the matrix route one input to several outputs? It can. Yep, that's one of the cool things about it. So I'm sending my computer screen to this monitor and to that monitor. And that's how I'm doing that, because the matrix has the computer monitor coming into it, and then it sends 2 copies back out. More super chats. Oh my gosh. Okay, shipping fund. Thank you all. Okay. Yep. John, this is happening. You're getting a stand sent to you. Be happy this isn't paying you to drink like I did to Joseph. That was an adventure. That was an adventure. So, okay, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the Pocket 6K. So let me switch to that one. I'm telling you about the LUT problems because I was not able to. Oh, there's the confetti for it. Thanks. I was not able to get the not able to get my LUT loaded into it. So when I switch to it, the colors are going to look way different. They're going to look way different. So apologies for that. I just tried this morning and I was not able to get my LUT loaded on there, but this is what it looks like. So this is one of the default LUTs that comes in the camera. It's the it's one of the, like, I forget what they call it, the extended video film to extended video, I think is what that one is running. So it looks a lot more saturated than normal, my normal LUT. But yeah, this is the 6K Pro. One of the really frustrating things about the 6K Pro, which is different from the Pocket 4K. Oh, Stuart, thank you for the super chat. It's fun. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna send John a stand. This is great. Oh, at this rate, you could fly to Sweden and deliver it personally. I would love to fly to Sweden and deliver it personally. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Okay. So one of the problems with the 6K Pro is that's this camera that you're looking at now. When it's plugged into an ATEM Mini, it goes into camera control mode. And that's great and all right. You can it has the tally indicator. It has you can start and stop recording from it automatically. You can do some color shading in it as well, which is cool. However, it forces the camera into Blackmagic RAW because the assumption is you're going to be using it as an ISO recorder, and you want to record the RAW and then have it stream out so you can preview it in the switcher. Sounds good. The problem is in Blackmagic RAW, you can't set it to an aspect ratio that is 16:9. So you can't set UHD or 1080 options in the menu. They're just turned off. And I can, so that happens as soon as you plug it in. So as soon as you plug it into the ATEM, it's like, oh, there's an ATEM controlling me now. I'm going to switch into Blackmagic RAW mode, and then you can't fix the aspect ratio. So there's always black bars on the top and bottom. And that's not what I want for this. I want to use it as a studio camera, outputting 1080 or 4K, or potentially recording 4K or Ultra HD in the camera while also streaming a program. So that's kind of annoying. And I was like, I feel like this didn't happen on the 4K. So I switched the HDMI cable over to the 4K, and the 4K recognizes that it's being controlled by the ATEM, but does let me keep it in ProRes mode, which lets me record in UHD and 1080. So I basically had to route this camera in order to use it today on this stream where you're not seeing black bars on the top and bottom. I had to route it into the switcher such that it does not have camera control. So it does not know it's plugged into an ATEM, so I can't use any of the camera control features. Is that even with the camera start disabled? I don't know what the camera start disabled is. Yeah, the contrast is way higher on this one because I can't, there's not a built-in LUT that looks the same as my LUT that I made. Yeah, so the camera's cool. I will also say it's huge. It is a monster compared to the Pocket 4K. I would barely call the Pocket 4K a pocket camera, but this one I would not call a pocket camera. It's very large. But yeah. Oh, camera recording start. That is an interesting question. That is an interesting question. I'm actually not sure which ATEM it thought it was connected to when I plugged it in because it's running through my little bank of these converters, which I think means it actually thinks it's being controlled by this ATEM, not the main one. So I didn't try that. I will double check that. So yeah, thanks for giving me an idea. John says, I gotta run. I'll be emailing you every day until I get that stand. Thanks. Okay. What are you using for your keyboard and trackpad? This is the default Apple stuff. I don't love it, but it does work fine. And I do like how thin it is, so it doesn't really add much bulk on the desk. It just kind of sits there and chills out. That's what it looks like. Just the Apple stuff. Nothing fancy. What firmware do you have on the Pocket 4K? I have not gotten to be controlled by the normal ATEM Mini Pro. I don't know. I didn't have any problem with that. I think it's the latest. I think I updated it the latest when I got it. Yeah. You should be able to use BRAW in 1080p, just not at 60. Oh, interesting. I didn't change the frame rate. I didn't think about changing the frame rate to see if that would fix it. I'll have to keep fiddling with that. Yep. Yeah. Anyway, like I said, I I just got this. This is the first time I've actually plugged it in, other than recording a few clips at home. It's the first time I've plugged it into the studio here. And I got here at like 8 this morning, 2 hours before the stream starts, and got here to start setting up. And I wanted to see if I can get this camera wired in to get this angle. And it is, then I was like, then I started encountering that problem, and then I ran out of time to fix it, which is always how it goes. If I don't give myself enough time to, try this stuff out, then I end up, you end up with random things happening. So it'll take me some more fiddling to get it to work. This is not my review of this camera. So why am I not able to change the settings on my Blackmagic 6K from the ATEM software control? It should just work. You need to plug it in with an HDMI cable. Make sure you're not going through splitters or extenders or things. With an HDMI cable plugged in, it should work. The one thing you need to do is make sure that it knows there's a camera plugged in there. I'm looking at my computer screen here. I always forget where it is. It's in, oh my gosh, I found it once. It is in the, now I can't find it again. In one of the settings, there's a thing that's like, where do you have cameras plugged in? And I remember the first time I tried this, I ended up with only one input was showing cameras, and then I figured out how to make this show all of the cameras. And now I can't find it again. It's somewhere in here. Okay, somebody will tell me what I'm doing wrong. Oh, yes. And make sure your pocket camera number matches the software control number. Yes. That's the other one. So the camera has a setting telling it what input it's plugged into, and those have to match. Preferences mapping. So preferences, not settings. There it is. So here, do I have my where's my computer? Wrong camera on the SuperSource. So let me just go over to SuperSource. Box 1 gets the table. There we go. So there's settings, which is something different than preferences. I don't know why. And in preferences, you get this. So that's where you tell it which inputs are which cameras. And if it's set to none, which I should probably do for these, then when you go into the camera, those don't appear anymore. No, there's only 6 things here. So really, I should only actually have cameras set to the ones that actually have Blackmagic cameras on them. But I'm going through the SDI matrix, so actually none of them do, technically. Yeah, so what did I do? Yeah, everything's fine. Okay. No excuse to play with camera LUTs now. Now I have to play with camera LUTs to fix it. I still don't understand why it's not loading it. It's not the input number, but just the control number. Many make it match the input number, but it can be any number. Oh, okay. Got it. So, yep, cool. Thank you for joining. Even if you are joining late, you'll have to scroll back and watch whatever chaos happened earlier. I don't even know what it was. Okay, where was I? Anything else? LUTs were a problem on the 6K Pro, which I still have to figure out, and the HDMI control, I got to figure that out. Then I will be able to see if this is actually, if I can get my LUT on here, then it'll actually look like this, which is how I want it to look. So this is a lot better. When will the ATEM Extreme stand files be available? On Monday. So on Monday, not tomorrow, a week from tomorrow, is when we're shipping the production stands out, and that is also when the downloadable files will be available. It is going to be a little bit different than this. So one of the reasons is because the bottom and top bars are hard to get right when you have to print these things. And I didn't want people to fail printing these on their own. So the top and bottom are quite a bit different than this stand, but the side pieces are basically identical, which is really the important part, because that's where the accessories get bolted onto, and that's where the cheese bars and all that. So the yeah, it'll be a little bit different than what you see here, but it will be available on Monday, a week from tomorrow. Can multi-view be shown to someone on something like Zoom? The USB out of the ATEM will only output the program feed. So there's no option to choose what goes out of the USB. So if you do want to show multi-view, the way you have to do it is use one of your HDMI outs into a separate capture card. But then it totally works. Separate capture card being an ATEM Mini or any capture card, the Elgato, whatever. So the that's how you get multi-view into Zoom. I will also say Zoom, I do not recommend using Zoom for multi-view because Zoom compresses the video a lot or scales the video a lot. So you end up with really blurry text. You can barely read it. Skype does not scale it down nearly as much. And I was able to actually use Skype to control Photo Joseph's live stream remotely a couple weeks ago. So the, and Skype ended up, I can actually read the text still and control his switcher remotely over the VPN. Multi-view out into an HDMI in for the infinite screen. You could do that. I do not recommend doing that. File preferences are for things that affect the software application controls for the internal ATEM firmware control. Yeah, I know it makes sense technically, but it's always confusing. You can't turn all inputs to none rather than Blackmagic. Oh, that's interesting. You always have to have at least one set to Blackmagic. They do want you to buy their cameras, it's true. Camera control sends control for all cameras out on all outputs, and then it matches the camera number. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's blasting all the control commands out to all cameras, and then they filter and only recognize the commands for the particular camera. You can hook up a 6K via Blackmagic Mini recorder and use Resolve Live to make a custom 3D LUT for the camera using all the controls in Resolve. That's what I did. Well, I didn't do it. I did it. I recorded the clip, brought it into Resolve, did the grading, exported it, and it works on the 4K, and the 6K is refusing to load it. Would love it if Blackmagic would release a version of ATEM for Linux so I don't have to carry such a powerful laptop just for control. I have heard this a couple of times. The software control app that they have for Windows and Mac is not available for Linux, which is a little bit frustrating because you basically have to have a Windows or Mac in order to use the full features of the ATEM. It is, you can still get pretty far with Companion, so you may not actually need to carry it all the time if you give yourself enough buttons in Companion to control enough stuff, but that would make me a little bit nervous to not have the ability to use the software control. Now I want to know if you can load the LUTs in your 6K. No, okay, let me show you what's going on. Oh, this is an interesting point. I think software control works 95% using Wine in Linux. I have not tested that. That is an excellent point. So, okay, let me switch over to wireless camera. I'm gonna go show you the back of my two cameras. We're back on the road audio now. Rode Wireless Go. So, oh, hey, the LCD screen cleared up. This was the, oh, no, you can see it. Okay, it's got a little bit of a flicker still. It's mostly better, but see that little line? It's coming in and out. So that is my poor broken LCD, but it's not as broken as it was earlier today. Yeah, so you can see there, now it's worse when I do that. Go into the menu. Not super great. Just been sitting there. Okay, so this is the 4K. This is working fine. The camera is working fine. I can load the LUTs. You can see I've got my LUTs in here. There's my custom LUT. There's a different one I tried earlier. And here's what it should do. If I go click that, press the checkbox, it should turn blue, right? It's highlighted. That's the one that's on now. So I press that. Got it. That's how it's supposed to work. Now, let me show you the 6K. And this is what I don't understand. If I go do this, go into LUTs, here is my LUT, and I press the checkbox, and it just doesn't do it. See, it's not selected. This one works. That one doesn't work. And neither does that one. And I also can't delete it. It's still there. So something's wrong. I think that's the one I wanted. That's weird. I don't know what's going on. And then, yeah, I'll fiddle with the other things later to figure out the camera control issues or the HDMI out. So I have no explanation. Anyway, that's enough of that. We don't need to talk about that more. Fun times. You can't set the stream key with Companion. At work, we have a Windows PC just to do that. Are you sure? Because I was pretty sure I saw an action for that. Stream. Set streaming service. Yeah, you can. You totally can. So, where's my... This is why I made this button here. So, set stream info. And then there's an action called set streaming service. And you can give it a name, test. You give it a RTMP. And you give it a key. And there it is. This is running the latest version of, it is running the latest Companion. So it might be only in the newest 2.2 is what they're working on right now. So that could be what's going on. But yeah, totally is possible. There we go. Okay, where was I? Oh my gosh. There's a lot of chat going on. Thanks. There's a Chrome box with Windows 10. Works great. That's an idea. I only have red lights on my sources. How can I switch the mode with red and green lights? Ah, good question. That is in the setup app. So if you go to the ATEM setup and go into, let me go into this one here. There it is. It's this setting. It's called Program Preview instead of Cut Bus. Cut Bus is the default, meaning if you push the button on the ATEM, it'll switch cameras immediately. Program Preview means when you tap the button, it'll turn green going into preview first, and then you press cut or auto to switch cameras. Looking forward to the next edition of 3 Men in the ATEM. Yes, we just set the date for that show. It's going to be the 30th, April 30th, end of the month. And it's going to be using the Epiphan devices, the Preroll Nano. Streaming Preroll Nanos to the Preroll Mini. So that should be fun. And we got the date set literally right before the show. We set the date, so we'll post all the thumbnails and stuff out soon. Apparently today you are on low latency, 0.5 delay rather than the usual 30 seconds. I'm always on ultra low. I'm not doing anything different for that today. I'm always set to ultra low, which should be about, I would say it's usually 3 seconds, 2 seconds maybe. So you're trying to use a 4K LUT on a 6K. They are different sensors, so I don't expect it to work. A LUT has to work from the raw data. So I would not expect to be able to export the LUT from the camera to the, between cameras. But when I created the LUT in Resolve, there's nothing I'm doing there that is specific to the Pocket 4K. So I'm not creating a 4K LUT. I'm not creating a LUT for a sensor. I'm just creating a 33-point LUT. So I don't know what I could do differently to make a LUT for the other camera. Where do I find more info about Companion? John Barker has some good videos about Companion. And the Companion's docs are also pretty good. Can I use a streaming bridge just connected via Ethernet to essentially add an HDMI out to the Mini Pro with slight delay? 100%. Yes. You can plug in the streaming bridge to the ATEM Mini with an Ethernet cable, not even going through a network switch. And you can definitely stream. It should auto-discover everything in that case even. It'll just show up as a source without doing any setup even. I've seen reports online that LUTs need to be 1.5 megabytes or less in size. I did find that also, and it was like 400K, so it should have worked. At work, we have the ATEM Mini Pro, not the Extreme, so the Companion version may be out of date. Yeah, I think they added that in the current update, the beta, which I think they just shipped the Raspberry Pi firmware or image for it. So that might be released soon. Yeah, it doesn't make sense that it works on the 4K, but not the 6K. I agree. Oh, maybe I missed it, but what's the teleprompter? It is the Glide Gear. And I wish I had a link to that one. Let me see if I can find it. It is Glide Gear TMP 100. That's the one. So yeah, let me go grab that link and put it there. So, okay. That is the Glide Gear TMP 100 teleprompter. Yeah, it's pretty good. A to Z Productions have videos on Companion also. Yep. Cool. Lots of good resources out there. I've talked about my Companion setup, but I haven't done any real tutorials about it. Can you reset the 6K? I will try that. It is out of the box, factory out of the box. So hopefully, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. I'll report back when I have it sorted out, and then hopefully this angle will look more like my normal cameras and not so crushed. Cool. Okay. I think that's about it for today. We, according to random Reddit, not being able to load LUTs onto the 6K Pro is a known bug. Great. Okay. We'll fix it in a future update. Well, I will be looking for that update because that seems like a pretty critical feature in order to use this for live streaming. GoToMeeting seems to crop to 640 by 480. Any thoughts on how to bring ATEM Mini in this format to avoid cropping? Nope. ATEM Mini is set to 1080p, no options, and that's the end of the story. GoToMeeting crops randomly, as far as I can tell. So not a lot of good options there, unfortunately. Okay. Yep. Okay. I think we're gonna wrap up here. I guess I'm just gonna wrap up at this table and I don't even need to go back to the desk since my computer is here, which is magic having my computer in two places at once. I again, I am just, I love the ability to just route screens randomly around the room. I can just be like, you're over there. You're over there. It's great. It's a lot of fun. What's your plan of the 6K Pro? Well, this is on loan to me from Blackmagic, so I'm not gonna. This is not something I can hold on to. So the plan right now is to test it, and so far the testing is going mediocre. And you are getting a sneak peek. Normally I would save all this for a video once I've got it resolved, but they are Blackmagic. I think they can handle it. But yeah, I am experimenting with this angle. I think I like the angle. Get that camera out of there. So I might try to park some camera here eventually, in that spot, so I like that you can see my desk and it's not just the close-up of my face. Oh, thanks for the super chat, Graham. Appreciate it. And now I definitely have enough to send John one of the prototypes of the Extreme stands. It'll probably be this one, which is the latest one in my collection. And I have a couple of bags of other prototypes in the closet over there too. All right. Thank you all for joining. Appreciate it. I appreciate all the super chats. Thanks for hanging out and listening to me whine about my random YouTuber problems this week. But that's how it goes. Hopefully I'll have some better updates next week. And we'll see how it goes. I'll be experimenting with this camera for a little while longer, and hopefully I get the web presenter back as well, and I can make that one work, because I am really excited about that device. I think they've done a lot of really good stuff with it. And at some point, I'm going to eventually be able to make a video again about like the rest of the gear I have to test, because, oh, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, I need to get back to my filming schedule because I have been focused on the stand for so long. But again, we will be shipping, I guess next live stream, it'll be the day before we start shipping them out. So hopefully everything goes smoothly this week, and all the little robots are hard at work producing the stands. And the yeah, on Monday next week, we'll be able to start actually getting them out in packages. So that's it. We'll wrap it up here. Thanks everybody for joining, and see you on the next stream.